recording. All right. Okay, so financial literacy is defined as a combination of awareness, knowledge, skill, attitude, and behavior necessary to make sound financial decisions and ultimately achieve individual financial well-being, or some may call it financial freedom. Now, when I look at finance, I also see it as a feminist issue. Why? Because statistics show that women and other marginalized communities, they don't have the resources that regular people, or specifically the male population, have access to when it comes to finance. It's not exactly that all males have access to financial resources or to learn about finance, but it's just that certain groups just don't have that much access. And it's not just about access, but just your lifestyle and how history has taken place, that there are certain setbacks that people experience. So we're just going to look at some statistics and a video to explain better on why finance is a feminist issue. Now, women lack competence in financial literacy, and they face serious repercussions because they take on large amounts of debt. They have their student loans, and they also have difficulty managing income, taxes, and investment. This is a product of having poor financial literacy. And low literacy rates also affect their lives in many different ways, where you don't know what kind of debt you're taking, when you're taking it, and sometimes you even settle for earning less. Now, why is it a woman perspective? Is because women are traditionally expected to also take care of the household and the family, and because of this they can sacrifice certain jobs or certain high-paying jobs that require them to commit more. They also have children to take care of. And it is also statistically shown that women actually live 7 years longer than men, which means that they have more of their life to cover expenses for. And if they're married, or if they have a partner and their partner passes away early, they also have to take on the financial responsibility that comes after that. This is all because of the traditional roles that women are not allowed to look at the finances or manage finances per se in the earlier part of their lives. And then once the male figure leaves, they have to take over it. But this is coming from a very traditional perspective. We do live in a time where people are independent and they're in charge of their own money. And one of the most important things is to know how to manage your money, or just how to address financial issues. So that is what we are going to look at during this workshop. But before that, I'm going to play a short video on why finance is a feminist issue. Give me 1 second while I share my screen again. Can you guys hear it?
Financial literacy is kind of bedrock to any long-term change, pretty much for everybody, but certainly for...
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Females. The world spends a lot of time talking about the SDGs, these are the Sustainable Development Goals, mention all sorts of goals, health, equality, participation, that cannot be realized unless you have some authority over resources. You can know a right, but if you don't have a way of getting that right, or a bargaining position, then it's just an idea. For girls, they begin to see themselves as just an extended part of other people. They begin to define themselves as, doing household and, quote, domestic activities. They don't see themselves for what they are, which is vital economic actors. So the first thing that financial literacy does is it says, you're an economic actor. You're making economic choices every single day, with the way you use your time, the way you use scarce resources. Much of the work that you do makes it possible for someone else to do some other work. So just an identification. Financial literacy also means building specific capabilities, being able to analyze situations, risk situations and opportunity situations. For example, when you're working with a population which has never thought of themselves as being economic contributors, if you ask the question, well, imagine that you're a girl of 12 in domestic service, what are the scenarios, what are the times that you are in the riskiest position? And then people will say, well, when you ask for your salary, because if they don't give it to you, you have no recourse, you're on the street. If you ask for a young married girl. When, how is it she's going to choose the number and timing of her children? Well, she's not. She's not unless she has some bargaining position with her partner. If the partner has complete control over her sexually and her fertility, she has no way of saying, I don't want to have a child now, or I want to wait. So her being able to control some resources and not feel completely dependent. What happens often is that young females are working and they're earning, but they are not able, they're trying to save, but they're turning over almost all of what they make and their time to other people. So financial literacy makes them aware of the fact that they are daily supporting not only themselves but others. It also teaches real-world financial inclusion skills. What are different kinds of savings? What different kinds of savings do you need to have? You need to have emergency savings because, particularly for the poorest, if you don't have someone to turn to, if you don't have some money aside in an emergency, then a young female in particular is at immediate high sexual risk. Or she may need emergency savings to help another family member. Then there are longer-term savings, which are goal-oriented. For example, saving up towards education. We have in our work something called the cash flow tool. And I remember in Haiti, after the earthquake, we became aware that there was a catastrophic level of sexual violence against the girls. And most of these households were run by beleaguered women. Lean-tos, it was a desperate situation. The programs that did exist were called child-friendly spaces, which lumped boys and girls together, and ultimately, in most cases, had older boys only, were unsafe places for girls. The bathrooms were put in places that the girls couldn't get to safely, and there was, they were like war zones. So in July, after the earthquake, we had a workshop in Haiti. And we started talking about at what age did a girl in Haiti need to really understand not only her safety, but how to resource for herself safely. And we had previously put the age at 8, and we had a 12-year-old there, and she said, no, it's 6. It's at 6 girls need to know this information. We, in that setting, and we often do, brought out something called the cash flow tool. So we asked people to draw pictures of several different types of girls by age and by education, and then we asked them, now list the places from which such girls get money. And girls do get money from little chores. They get money they're sometimes given, and they're very good savers. So that's on one side. And on the other side, there's a listing of, and what does this girl need to spend on? And they make that list as well. And then we say, all right, so what's the most important source of the money? And then they circle that. And what's the most important item that on their budget that takes the most money? And they circle that. And then people begin to see that there's an imbalance. Sometimes they're actually taking more money in than they need to spend. So we always say, well, what you can save is the difference between what you want and what you need. So it's a process of becoming very conscious, not only of your contributions, but how you can manage, often in scarcity. I think it's valuable for anybody. When my children were growing up, I couldn't find a financial literacy course. There was a great book that Susie Orman wrote called, Young, Broke, and Fabulous. And I thought it was terrific because it would take real scenarios that you actually faced. You have very little money, but you really need a car. What are your real choices? And that's another thing that financial literacy does. It lays out reality-based scenarios. It doesn't talk to you as if you're middle-aged and are making a big salary and buying your first house. It outlines real scenarios of economic risk and need. And then it says, and how would you negotiate it? If you're a young, poor female, what you have to do is very different than if you're an older male. Most of the prescriptions for the older and better off populations will have no place with these girls. Then you have a real conversation with the girls. So what will it really take for you to get school supplies this year? What will it really take for the rent to be paid without someone, story from Kenya, introducing very simple budgeting. One of the girls we were working with came back and said to her mentor, this was the first year, basically I didn't have to go out and sleep with my boyfriend without a condom because we had enough money to cover the rent in November, which was just before school fees were due. That's how close the margins are, but you have to get down to that level of reality. And one more thing I want to say. When you have a sense of control over one part of your life, it extrapolates to another. So, for example, in South Africa, one of my colleagues did wonderful research, Kelly Holman and her associates, and they introduced in the school setting in South Africa, which was also in the highest HIV zone, where again, much higher rates of HIV infection among females than males.
Sorry, that was a technical issue.
and thought that financial literacy would be core, not just because people need livelihoods, but because it would make information, for instance, about HIV much more salient. At the beginning of the program, the girls, it was girls and boys, they were separated for some sessions and together for others, were asked, do you think of yourself at being at any exceptional risk for HIV? And these were girls often of 15 with a partner who was 25 years older in a zone with 25% HIV prevalence. And they would say no. Have you been HIV tested? No. After several months of financial literacy, their incomes hadn't changed, their savings hadn't changed, but their idea that there was some aspect of their life economically that they could change. So they were asked, do you have a financial goal? And that didn't mean you'd achieved it, but you had a goal. The girls just having a financial goal changed their ability to realistically assess their HIV risk. If they had a partner 10 years older, they thought, maybe I should get a different partner. They were much more likely to get tested. They saw a scope. That information of just psychological control and recognition immediately translated into being able to mobilize health information. So it is, whereas good health is always valued, health doesn't drive economics as strongly as economics drive health. Without economic resources, it's difficult for females especially to make good health decisions.
All right, so that is on a bit more detail on why finance is a feminist issue. Now I will be introducing you guys to our guest speaker and workshop moderator for today. First off, we have Ms. Madhura Kannan, who is the Junior Director of Simply Empowering, co-founder and advisor of Ascendance, and a Diana Award winner in 2019, as well as the Monster Award winner in 2019. Madhura Kannan is the 25-year-old Junior Director of Simply Empowering, a company that provides outsourced accounting, business advisory, and secretarial services. She also guides teenagers and young adults in their personal finance management via her year-long coaching program, as well as her workshops. And on top of pursuing a career in the finance world, Madhura also co-founded the Malaysian social enterprise Ascendance in 2015, served as a CEO from 2017 to 2020, and now currently serves as an advisor for the organization. She has received the Diana Award in 2019 for her contributions in humanitarian and social work as a youth, and was also awarded the top 10 key opinion leader in Key Student Opinion Leader in Monster Award 2019. Now, before I pass the floor to Madhura, let me also introduce our other speaker for the day, who you'll be hearing from later, Ms. Harsha Ravindran. Harsha is a successful 18-year-old social entrepreneur and international conference speaker, 3 times TEDx speaker, as well as the Chief Marketing Officer of Ascendance, a nationwide youth development platform that has worked with thousands of youngsters to create sustainable careers for themselves. She also founded her own startup, startmyname.com, in 2019, which expanded to having 400 plus clients from over 4 continents in a year. She's currently pursuing her degree at the University of Pennsylvania in Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences, and she has received the Diana Award in 2019 for her work in Ascendance, and has also recently published her own book called The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur. So now let me pass the floor to Madhura.
Hi guys. Thank you, Amy, for the wonderful intro. So if you guys don't mind, can you guys turn on your camera so that I know there's some people there? I see some new people just came in, so please don't be scared that I asked. The first thing I asked you guys to do is turn on your cameras. But if you can't, you can just drop it in the comments as to why you can't. But, if you can, you'll be really good, because I think personal finance, like I think what she mentioned, the person mentioned in the video, right, that we were just watching, it's supposed to be personal, and it will only it will add value to you if you make it personal. If not, it's just going to be theory, which I'm sure you guys can find it on the internet easily. So maybe I can just share my screen as well. Just give me 1 minute. This is the awkward part, which happens in every Zoom call.
Meanwhile, just to interrupt for a little bit, if
Yeah.
you guys are worried about your faces being shown in the video because we're spotlighting our speaker, you won't pop up in the recorded video. So please feel free to turn on your cameras. Thank you.
All right, so let it load. I think Yumitra already introduced me, so I don't think I want to go much into my intro, but just a brief background. So in Simply Empowering, what I do is accounting. So I pursued ICAW in Sunway, the rivals, no, back in 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So I still have one more paper to complete it and become a CA officially. But currently, I do outsource accounting, business advisory, and as well as now personal finance, where I guide youngsters to manage their finances much better and all of that. Ascendance is a youth movement that was started back in 2015. We work with youngsters so that they can, one, learn about themselves, understand what is their strength, their weaknesses, how their mind works, and all of that, and also explore different industries and career while they are still in school. This is high school, by the way, or primary school, and figure out what is it that they are truly passionate about and start turning that into a career while they're still in school. So these are the two things that I personally have done. So I love working with people, youngsters especially, and sharing my experiences with them. And also I like money and business. So personal finance is something both of these passions of mine comes together, which is why I really really enjoy doing it. I think there's no need to say that there's a lot of people in Malaysia that actually don't really know much about money, or they don't actually have proper saving habits. It's already a known fact in a way. But let me know if you guys are a part of these stats in a way. Do you guys save up? I know most of you are students, so maybe you can just share whether you have savings or don't have savings, and we can see what the group already does with regards to your personal finance for now. And while you're doing that, I think we just get the ice broken a bit. uh Maybe you guys can, if you can turn on your mics and share, that'd be great. If not, please do send it in the chat box. What is your name? How old are you? I'm so sorry for asking this question, but we're all youngsters, so I don't think it really bothers us that much. And on the scale of 1 to 10, how much do you know about personal finance? So if you guys, okay, you can either turn on your mics and just answer me, or you can type it out in the chat box. Anybody wants to go first?
I will go first,
Okay.
but I think I forgot the questions already.
Name, how old are you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you know about personal finance?
Okay, hi guys, I'm Yumitra, president of Girl Up. I'm 22 years old this year, and how much do I know? Four? Five?
4, 5. Okay, okay. That's good. Who's next?
I can go next.
Yep.
Hi everyone, my name is Shiva Kamini and I'm the Vice President of Taylor's Girl Up. You wanted my age, right? I am 22, turning 23 this year. And the amount of like finance knowledge I know is like very minimum. Like, I think the type of saving money, quote unquote, means is very like traditional grandma, like save it in the house type
Okay.
thing. So that's as far as I get.
Okay, okay, Ken. All right, next. Who's next?
I can go.
All right.
Hello. Okay, my name is Hessa. I am the vice events director for Girl Up, and wait, what? How old am I?
How old are
And I'm 19. I'm 19,
Okay.
and my finance knowledge. Oh, I'm gonna give myself a good one.
Okay, that's a good one. Who's next?
Hi, my name is Jane. I'm the events director of Taylor's Club, and I am 20 years old this year. In terms of how much I know about personal finance, I think I'll give myself a 2.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hi,
Hello.
my name is Yinting. I'm turning 22 this year, and in a scale of 1 to 10, I think about 6 or 7. But I'm still working on it to learn like investing, something like that. To know more
Okay.
about it.
Awesome. Anybody else? I think there's a
I can go next. My name is Cheryl. I'm the Vice Secretary of Taylor's Girl Up. I am turning 19 this year, and my finance knowledge is like a 1.
okay.
I spend all my money really easily. It's kind of bad.
Join the club. That is what I used to be. Still am at point at sometimes. Anybody else? Is that it? I think there's a few more people, but if you guys, it's okay if you can't turn on your mics, you can just send it in the chat box. I think that was fun. So we are floating somewhere between 1 to 6, which is good. I like this. I like doing working with people who have the 1 to 6 rather than the 10. Then it's annoying to work with them. So so that is good. That is good. So I would like to ask you guys some questions in a way. I don't know why I'm asking you guys more questions than you guys asking me, but it doesn't matter. This is how I do it. If you guys don't mind, you can actually go to menti.com, and I kind of have like a couple of polls that I would like to go through with you guys. So maybe I'm just going to open up the polls while you guys log in. Did you manage to take a look at the code? No, right? I went a bit too fast. Okay. So menti.com, which I'm going to log in as well, menti.com. And you can put in the code 73771807. Okay, my laptop's not working. Are you guys okay? Do I need to leave the code on any longer? 73771807. I'm just going to leave the code in the chat so that if newer people come in. Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you. Didn't notice it. Okay. All right. Oh, I see you guys already voting. Yay. So let's see that. All right, we have about 7 people in. So would you rather have 1,000 a day for the rest of your life or have 1 million in the bank today? Wow. Oh my God, somebody actually said I don't want both. This is amazing. If the 1,000 a day for the rest of my life, nobody wanted 1 million in the bank today. That's so sad. Anybody willing to share why you guys say that?
I feel like I might spend it all. I mean, obviously not in one day, but like in a year, I might finish the million, and I'm like, maybe I should just space it out a bit.
Yep. Okay. I actually, the truth is, I would choose the same option. Like you said, I will definitely finish it off as well. I don't trust myself enough. And two, so I think Jane mentioned it's scary to carry so much money. Yep, it's scary. I think you give me an additional 100, 1K in my bank account. I'm like, oh God, why is this here? Shall I move it? So yeah, I'm in the same club as you guys. No worries. So I have no idea if you guys can see the next question, which is if you get RM 2000 today, what would you do? So just type out your answers, go crazy. If you want to open up the mic and just share also, it'll be fine. What would you do if you get 2000 today? You can also send it in the chat box if you feel lazy to log into Menti. Retail therapy. All right. Anybody else? Invest in possibly in stock market or cryptocurrency or mutual funds. All right. Wow. So well versed. Either donate it to a charity or simply leave it. Wow, so kind. Okay. I know I should probably invest in something, but I don't know how to invest. So just save some and use the rest. Question mark. Okay. Put 600 in savings, 400 in investment, 500 for needs, and 500 for wants. Who answered this? This is so detailed. Oh my God. You know exactly what you want to do with your money. This is amazing. This is so good. And the best answer of them all, buy food. I can't. This is so good. I will do that too. You know how expensive Food Panda is. I understand, man. But okay, please come clean. Who put 600 in savings, 400? Who answered that? Please come clean.
It is me.
Really?
Yeah.
You're so detailed. Oh my God. Okay. I'm so proud of you.
Oh.
All right. Okay. That's good. So Wow. I'm so sorry. I'm just mind blown with the answers. So that's good. So these are fun questions to ask ourselves every now and then. I personally enjoy asking myself because, like, even the 2,000 ringgit a day question, right? It's a good way for us to see what is our priorities, because at the end of the day, personal finance and money generally is about living the life we want, because the money on its own is nothing. It's kind of useless. The purpose it serves is more important. So the purpose it serves, it really depends on what is our goals, what do we want in life, and we can channel this tool called money towards it. So most of the time we would say this is the biggest priority in our life. So maybe for some of us it's retiring early, or for some of us it is traveling. But how much of our money do we actually channel towards that goal will tell the truth whether that is your priority or something else is your priority. So if you say your priority is to be able to be independent and take care of your needs, and without relying on anybody, but whenever you get money, the first thing you do is just buy food and finish it, then it kind of contradicts what we say is our goal. So I like money a lot because it kind of tells the truth, and it is very on your face kind of thing. Look at that. Yeah, it's very on your face kind of thing. So it doesn't, there's nothing much to hide or lie about. Money is very truthful. So that is why I think it's a very interesting tool to work with. Okay. So today I was, at any point in time, if you guys already have any questions, please do ask me, because I feel like my role here is just help you guys find out what you need, what you want to know about. But I personally also like to just share some of the lessons I wish I had applied when I was a college student, as well as a young adult who entered the working world. So it wasn't that long ago. I think I was one of the college students who was earning while I was studying. So when I was in Sunway doing my studies, I actually did part-time accounting work. So I was already earning, not a lot, very minimal amount, and but I was already earning, and I had allowances from my parents, which like somebody mentioned just now, I will finish it 1 week before the month ends, and the last week I will not eat anything because I don't have money to eat anything. So off I will have very minimal amount. That means I have to go to Rock Cafe in Sunway and eat the mixed rice day in day out. So I don't know how that was my life. Be that on that, yes. So and then when I actually got a job and I started earning so much more, it's not like I became wiser just because I had more money. Doesn't mean the wisdom increased with it. uh, I was equally dumb, so I started spending the money ridiculously, stupidly. And I ended up with the same situation. No matter how much my income increased, I will always end up in the same situation of not having enough money the last week of the month. So if you're one of those people, I just hope that whatever the habits that I feel is very important to build, you can pick one or two that you can choose to build, and get that started. You don't have to fix all the problems at one go. Just pick one thing and then work on that. Eventually you'll be progressing towards your financial goals, if there is any. All right. So how do I do the share screen without going wrong every time? Okay. So building financial habits. Oh, this is so boring. Okay. So I think the first thing I want to talk about is tracking. Uh, do you guys track your finances? Does anybody in this class, in this room, tracks your finances? How about the person who said 6 or 7 just now? Anybody? No, no. Okay, I see a lot of like this.
I attempted to track, but I give up days later.
Why did you give up? Because I'll be honest, I gave up like hundreds of times before. So why did you?
Because it was like a bit troublesome to remember every single thing and note that down. Yeah. Although I know there's a lot of app out there that will probably facilitate, but yeah, it's still hard to keep in mind that you have to record this, you have to track this down.
Yep. So I personally feel tracking is the first step. Why? It's the same analogy that I use literally every time, which is if you feel sick, right, and you want to get treated by a doctor, do you want the doctor to just like give it a try and just give you some random medication and try hope that you get well? Or do you want the doctor to run some tests and then get you prescribe the right medicine and then get you well? Which option, A or B? B, okay, yeah. If not, Temba. The option A is Temba. I just try to fix a random problem. So I would definitely not want a doctor to just prescribe me random stuff. So I feel like a lot of us, even we feel we are good with money or we feel we are not good with money, but you don't actually know what is your habits with regards to money. Like if I ask you right now, how much do you spend in a month on food? How many of you can give me the figure like that? Most of us can't. So because of that, that means we don't know the problem, right? So that is why I always say start with tracking, so that you know what's exactly the problem, then you can fix it. Sometimes we will overestimate some problems and underestimate some problems. So that is why I feel tracking is very important. So you guys, this is something you can get started. This is something I started when I was in college. You don't need to be a working adult to start this, because I'm sure you guys have some allowances that you need to work around on a day-to-day basis. So you can use that as the income source, and then your expenses, you can track that as well. So these are some of the suggestions I have of the apps I use. For beginners, I really recommend like Money Manager. It's really, really easy to use and easy to understand. If you're a Maybank user, you can try May, but I kind of gave up on that. Checkbook was the one that I was using when I was a student. And recently, I kind of like subscribed to One Money, which I find it looks very exciting and interesting. So because of that, I kind of use it. But if you just go to Google Play Store and search money apps, you will find hundreds of them. So just if you need something more colorful, just find something more colorful. If you need something boring with no colors and just black, I'm sure there's an app for that as well. So just find what suits your preferences and then just download it, and you can experiment. That's the idea of it. So I have experimented with tons of apps, which is why I can easily recommend like 5, because I've used all of them. So the idea of using these apps is you track whatever you have. So most people don't count like somebody mentioned just now, right? The savings you keep in your cupboard. All of us have had that. So what I do is in these particular apps, I put in what I have in my cupboard, tabong, how much I have in my wallet, how much I have in my Touch and Go e-wallet, all the different, now there's like 10 different e-wallets, so all the different e-wallets. So you can put all of those figures inside, and then moving forward, you just track whatever comes in is an income, whatever goes out is expense, and you categorize those expenses. So one thing I do, I don't know how many of you have this habit. Do you guys lend money to your friends? Like, don't worry, man, I'll pay first, later you pay me back. How many of you do this? And how many of you never get the money back? Yes, can put a thumbs up or something that I do. Yes, I have done this so many times. I've lost hundreds of ringgit because I do this stupid thing. And then I will be very angry at the person for not paying me back. But when the truth is, I was the idiot who gave the money in the first place. So what I do is I actually put in, even if I borrow money to my friends or my family or whoever it may be, I actually do an entry for that as well. So it's like a send it to their name and then bring it back when they pay it back, kind of thing. So this actually helps me to keep track of every single cent owed to me by people, and owed by me to people, more importantly owed by me. So if I am the one who's borrowing money from my friends, I am a strong believer that I must pay it back, because right now we are youngsters, we don't maximum the amount we borrow is probably like 20 ringgit, and we will pay it back and it's fine. Now you don't pay it back, you forget, it's fine. But if we build it into a habit, when we become adults and we get into financial trouble or whatever, we may conveniently forget to pay back people, because that's our habit of doing things. So I am like, if you will not accept this habit when it's in a much bigger amount, then don't do it when it's 1 ringgit, 2 ringgit. That's the idea of it. So that's what people say. If you can't even manage your 100 ringgit in your hand, there's no way you're going to manage the 1 million if it comes into your hands. So same concept. If you won't do it now, if you don't want it to be done to you, then don't do it in a way. So always pay back the people we owe money to. And I use these tools, apps to track it. The struggle will be you will forget. And I have forgotten for like months. Like I'll track for like 3 months, and then for 6 months there'll be no entries. I'll just completely forget, and then I'll feel very bad and I don't want to come back to it. That's how literally any new habit creation happens, right? You start a habit, you will forget, and that's it. Done. Bye. Next year, New Year resolution, come back again. So what I do is the moment I even like slightly passes my mind, I will just quickly start back. And any differences, like if there's a difference between when I stopped and what today, I don't try to crack my head to figure out what happened. I will just do like one entry saying others and clear it out, or unknown and clear it out. So now it becomes a challenge for me to make sure the unknown figure is as close as possible to zero. But the truth is, you will never reach zero. Like until now, I've been tracking for like 6 years. Until now, I have unknown figures, which means I've lost track of what I spent on. So don't try to be perfect and hit this, not have any unknown. You will always have it. So just when it happens, just put it under unknown and move on with your life. And that will help you to not give up on this new habit creation in a way. Any questions so far? Anyone has already downloaded an app and has questions on how to use it? Nothing? Wow, awesome. I forgot what was the next thing I wanted to talk about. Okay. Anybody else anyone knows what's budgeting and can explain it in a very short and sweet way? The word budget. Any volunteers? No?
Is it like having a set amount of money and then like using only that amount that you set aside for something?
Yep. Yes. Allocation. Yes. So remember what I shared with you guys about priority earlier, right? So when I say you will see the truth, whether that is truly your priority, when you set a budget is when you will see the truth. And whether you follow or not, follow the budget or not will also show you the truth. So what I mean by that is, so let's say you have a fixed amount of money coming in every month. How much of it are you putting towards, right? And where are you putting the money towards? So budgeting is very important, and budgeting is one of the ways you can build the habit of saving as well. So I was the kind of person who, despite starting to earn, like I started earning 5 years ago, 4 years ago. No matter how much I earned, I never saved. So I will always find something new to commit to, which is what will happen. It's called lifestyle creep, in the sense that your lifestyle will creep and creep up to the amount you earn, and you will never increase your savings because there's always something new to spend on. So because of that is why budgeting is very important, and that's why you must budget in savings in your budgeting. So I'm just going to show you guys like a sheet that I use to kind of like, after I track, right, in my mobile app, I actually put these figures in Excel because I'm an accountant, so I like doing these kind of things. But I will share this link, a link to this template later. So if you guys, get very motivated and want to start doing this, you can actually start doing it as well. So what I mean by budget, my budget is very simple. I don't have any complicated budgets. I just have like, how much do I earn in a month? And then I'll try to break it down into my different categories. So somebody throw me a income that you will probably earn when you start work. So everyone's like, we will start work. Anyone? I can't open this.
500?
500?
1,500.
1,500. Okay, we can work with that. 1,500. Okay. So, okay, this is a very independent person, but let's just ignore the rental part. How much do you guys think you would spend on food if you were already, going to work and all of that? We can start a very easy, a very simple way to budget is, how much would you spend in a day for this category? So, like right now, right? Think how much do you spend on your, let's say, your lunch and your dinner, and if you're somebody who has breakfast, how much do you spend on breakfast? And I kind of like add up those figures. So, anyone has any ideas on how much you would want to spend?
Around 400 a month.
Wow, 400 a month. Okay, let me just do a very brief calculation. That's like 13 ringgit per day. May I know what are you eating in this day?
Oh, because what I do normally, I buy dinner and separate to half to dinner and lunch.
Mind blown. Okay, that's
Broke
amazing.
life.
Okay, but this, you are earning, man. You're already in a job. Okay, never mind. Let's go for this. To tell the truth, at one point my budget was this low, so it is doable, especially if you cook on your own. So okay, 400, let's say. Groceries. Do you guys, groceries for me personally includes other things like, things you buy, like the clothing, detergent, and all the other random stuff that you buy for the house as well, or like facial cream and weird stuff like that. All those stuff comes under groceries for me. You can always have a separate category. I know people who spend at least 250 per month on makeup alone. So different categories for different people. You notice there's no makeup because I literally don't wear makeup. My makeup is Johnson baby powder. Okay, so I don't need to spend a lot on that. Groceries. Do you guys want to throw a figure? Or maybe what I should do is I should just take out these figures and ask you guys what are the things people would spend on if they start working. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Oil?
Oil?
If we use a car, oil,
Oh, okay.
car. Yeah.
Fuel toll and parking.
Fuel, yeah, sorry.
Okay, fuel toll and parking. Yes. If you are driving, which I assume most of us would, I insisted that I will have a car when I start work. So yes, I needed to pay for my fuel toll parking. But how much do you guys think you will spend on this category? Any ideas? If anybody's
300,
Like
200.
250 to 300,
Yeah.
depending on your car though, and the petrol price and where you're
Yep.
getting it.
Yep, and like if you live in an area like Kottakamuning like I do, just going anywhere requires a 8 ringgit toll every freaking day. So so yeah, depends on, let's just put 300. I think it's a very reasonable amount. Most of the time it's unattainable. So other than that, any other categories you guys think you would spend on if you start working?
Rentals.
Sorry, what?
Rentals.
Okay, rental. I like it. How much do you think you'd like to pay for your rent? Are you sharing are you getting a room? Are you getting a house and sharing it with housemates, or you insist on living on your own and you're going to take care of all the rent?
I think it depends because my current rent is around 600.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Okay, what else? Since we are going with yours, right? Just tell me all your expenses. This will be so much more easier. Do you buy groceries?
Yeah, groceries, of course. But I don't remember how much I bought.
Okay. If you walk into Aeon, let's say, how much do you usually spend in one walk into Aeon?
70 to 80, around that amount.
And let's just assume you would go there once or maybe twice a month?
Yeah, probably 1 or twice a month.
Reasonable, right? Twice.
Maximum 3 times.
Okay, so I'm going to be kind. I'm going to put like 80 ringgit 2 times. Okay. What else? What else would we spend on? Any other ideas, guys? What did I had earlier? I forgot. Let me open my mobile app and see what I spent on. Do you guys have subscriptions like telephone? I mean, do you pay for your phone bill? Maybe that's a thing, right?
Like Wi-Fi, yeah.
Yeah, Wi-Fi. So we have Wi-Fi, we have telephone bill. Because I'm sure that is one of the first few things your parents will ask you to pay when you start working. Even if you don't pay for rent, they'll ask you to pay for the phone bill. What else? I think you would also have like Netflix, and I think now it's a necessity, no longer a want. You must have Netflix.
Electric bill, water bill.
Oh yeah, utilities, amazing. Utilities. If you have a car, you'll have upkeep and stuff. So I'm just gonna skip the part of putting the figures for all of these. But let's say my telephone bill right now is about 85 ringgit. We have already exceeded our budget of 1554. So we earn 1,500, but we will spend 1,554. This is just an example. So what I usually do is I'll do this and then I realize, oh shit, okay, there's no way I can sustain this with the income I have. So what I will try to do is not like cut my budget. I will try to reduce my budget for now until I can increase my income. So one of the things that happened quite interestingly last year was MCO hit, and basically my income dropped. Not because of MCO, but because I screwed up the business and the income dropped for the business. And of course, I can hide behind the whole shield of it was because of MCO, but basically it was because I screwed up the business and my income dropped. And my income dropped. I moved out at that exact same time as well. So when I move out, my expenses literally double because now I have to pay for my rent, utilities, groceries, which are things I never even thought I need to buy. And because I'm moving out like brand new, right? This is the first time I'm moving out. I had to buy like everything from like bed sheet to a mirror in my room, and everything needed to be bought at that point in time. So let's just say my budget was nuts at that point in time. So what I did at that in that scenario was, one, try to cut down my expenses as much as possible, which is why I even considered the idea of cooking. So back, if anyone met me like 5 years ago or even 2 years ago, I'd be like, who cooks? It's a stupid thing to do. I would rather use that time for something else. But then MCO kind of forced me to cook, and now I love cooking. And it saves me a lot of money. So and I cooked for other people and made money from that as well. So which is what I did. So one was that you kind of find solutions to reduce your expenses, or like figure out ways to wholesome transformation. Actually, I kind of reduce the expenses to fit my current income, but I don't settle there. I kind of started to see what else can I do to earn more income, because there's no way you can live in this pathetic level of eating for 13 ringgit per day. It's going to be hard for you. You're not going to be happy if you do that. So yes, you reduce your budget to come fit to that point, but you start looking at options on how you can earn more, which is the most important thing I feel, which is a lot of youngsters don't really do, because we're like, oh, I'm new at this job. This is all I can do. But actually, you can put in some effort to build other sources of income. I think if COVID-19 taught us anything, is that you cannot rely on one source of income, because your job may be the best job in the world, but you can still lose your job because something bigger is happening. So always have a multiple source of income, so that if something goes down, you at least have something else to sustain yourself. And when you start budgeting, always put your savings figure first. So like just now when I shared this spreadsheet, the first thing I would put in here is savings, because that should be the priority in a way. So if let's say 1,005, I am not going to expect to save 500 ringgit, because unless you live with your parents and somebody drops you at work every single day and you take food from home, if you have these kind of scenarios, then you can do that. But if let's say you're like this particular person where you have to take care of a lot of your personal expenses, then even saving 100 ringgit is a big deal. But put that figure in and always allocate that amount to your savings. So as a student, you may have like, let's say mine was like 400 ringgit back then per month, which was ridiculous. Which then I found out that there was such a thing as I can go and negotiate with my parents and ask for more allowance. But I was so dumb and so scared, I didn't do this. So after like 1 year of college, and then my mom sits me down and says, is your allowance enough? Because like I always feel like you don't really like go out with your friends, you don't do much. And I was like, most of the time I'm broke by the second week, so I don't spend. I mean, I don't have enough money to do all those things. So then she's like, why you never told me you don't have enough money to eat and all of that? I was like, oh, I didn't know it was an option. I just thought I had to learn how to manage this money. So then of course there's other options. One, you can negotiate with your parents, or two, you can find like do something and earn an income for yourself, so that you can live the life you want to live in a way. So that was an interesting thing. And my mentor actually told me this when I was younger, but I never really paid attention. So I screwed myself up for quite some time. But basically, even if your savings is, your income is so little and you can't even save any amount, maybe start with saving 5 ringgit per month. it may look very small and feel like, oh, what's the point of saving 5 ringgit per month? But if you just continue to do that, at least you have the habit in place. So later on, when you do earn more money, you will automatically have the habit of putting more money into your savings. So that is another thing. Budgeting really helps saving, so it kind of comes along with it. And to do budget, if let's say you want to do your budget, right, one good way to do it is to track your expenses 1 month ahead. So let's say you want to start budgeting in June, start tracking for the month of May, because then you will know approximately how much you spend on each category, and then you will be able to come up with a much better budget. And you'll be also be able to figure out what are the places you can reduce, what are the places you need to increase, all of that as well. Any questions so far? I feel like I'm just rambling on. Now I'm thirsty. Nope, no questions. So my mentor makes this joke that if you have an audience and they don't have a question, it either means they understood everything you said or they didn't understand a single thing you said. So so I just hope that you guys understood everything and not the other one. Uh, I actually don't have much time, so I'm gonna skip towards my next one, next habit. So far we have looked at tracking, budgeting, and in budgeting we included the whole savings aspect of it. Also, the other thing you can budget for is something called, there's a few funds for it. I call it ad hoc expenses. There's some people who call it sinking fund. So basically, it basically is an amount you can allocate every month to a fund that you can use for literally anything. So if you have the impulsive habit to go for retail therapy, and if you're like me, I just like to go for random holidays and spend off my money. So like I'll just go for staycations and finish the money. So if you're like me, put aside some money every month for that funds. So if you want to spend on anything that is outside of your ordinary budget, you must check how much you have in that funds first. So if you want to spend, let's say 300 to go for a staycation, that is what I did. I check my ad hoc funds or sinking fund amount, and if it's within that amount, I allow myself to go for that trip. But if it's below that amount, even if I have more money in my bank account, I will not allow myself for the trip, because technically I don't have the money. The money I have is for to sustain myself for the next 1 month, not to go for a holiday. So that is also another thing you guys can budget in, so that you kind of like make sure you don't overspend. How to have self-control? Good question. So personally, my self-control came by making a lot of mistakes and losing a lot of money. But you don't necessarily have to do that. What One of the things that helps is basically having somebody to watch your finances. So let's say if I'm tracking, there no point just having myself to see the finances. If I can have like a mentor, or even it could be a friend, preferably not your family members, because it tends to go get too personal when it's family members. But somebody who's a bit more wiser in terms of money management, to kind of look at it and see it objectively. So just knowing that somebody else is watching will help you stay in control. And two is the sinking fund. That's a very good way to stop from overspending. Is ad hoc separate from savings? Yes. So speaking of savings, right, what are the things I save for? So I actually have maybe I should show this as well. Where is my demo sheet? Okay. So if you guys can see here, I have something called money market, fixed deposit. Okay. So I have something called savings, which is basically my emergency savings. Emergency savings means you save for a rainy day, but one of the rule of thumb you can use to kind of like figure out how much you must save is your monthly expenses. So let's say for me, my monthly expenses is around 2,000. So in case COVID hits and I lose my job for 1 year, I need 1 year worth of funds to stay alive. Not stay alive, like survive. So to do that, so let's say 2,000 times 12, I need 24,000 in my emergency funds. So that will be the savings that I'm trying to save for. So currently I don't have 12 months worth of emergency funds. Most people start with just having 1,000 ringgit in their emergency funds, because a lot of them in Malaysia actually don't even have 1,000 ringgit. So that is usually your first target. And then you save up for, let's say, 2 months or 3 months, and then you eventually level up to 6 months, 9 months, and then eventually 12 months. I know people who even have 24 months 36 months in the emergency savings because, they're very worried. But I don't think I would do that. I'm too young to be doing that. I'll have probably like 20, maximum 12 months. That's it. But the ad hoc expenses, I keep it in another bank account here. So I have my usual bank account. So let's say Maybank is my usual bank account where I spend my day-to-day expenses, right? And then I have CIMB, let's say, for ad hoc. So I keep it separate from my day-to-day and also separate from my savings. So my savings is actually in my money market, not in any other place, kind of thing. So that is personally how I do it. But you can see how you want to do it. Like Maybank now has May, so you actually have 2 accounts. You can split it there as well. You can come out different ways, but keep it separate. Keeping it separate really helps you to not touch it. If it is literally one click away, there's a high chance you're going to touch it. So make it as hard as possible for your less wiser you to spend the money. Any other questions? Yep. Most people do say the savings and expenses. So this is something I learned out of experience. Because I had a spare bank account in my like my father created this bank account for something else. So I had a weird looking bank account in my hand, and I was like, what do I do with this? So eventually I decided I'll make this into ad hoc expenses, and it really works. So then when I started working with other youngsters who had a problem of overspending on the weird things that they do rather than the regular ones, then we can put this habit in place, like they must only spend what is in ad hoc expenses. So that kind of helps them stop their overspending, kind of, in a way. And also, if you're the kind of person like me, I have road tax to pay on a yearly basis. I go for my medical checkups every year. So there's a lot of big expenses that comes on a yearly basis. So I put aside some funds into that bank account so that when, let's say, my medical checkup comes up, I can take money from there to pay for my medical checkup. Because there's no way my monthly income can kind of like support a medical checkup in 1 month, kind of thing. So that is one of the things I do. Any other questions? Oh. Okay, so I kind of already spoke about my third point, which is to have goals and work towards it. So the first, do you recommend to invest? Okay, I'm going to get to that. Very good. So my first goal is always have 1,000 ringgit as savings. So that is a good place to start. And then after that is work towards your emergency funds. If you're a student, you don't have much to worry about. It's okay. But if, let's say, your expenses on a monthly basis right now is 400 ringgit or 500 ringgit, I think 400 is ridiculous. Back then itself, it was ridiculous. I don't know how much you guys spend in a month, but whatever your amount is, just save for 6 months, let's say. And just do it because it will help you build the habit, not because you actually need the money. Okay, so those are the first two goals. And then only I will look into investments. So because a lot of people like to jump straight into investments, but I'm like, if you can get the savings habit right, you will have a tool that helps you get the money to invest. You need to save to start investing. So you need to get your savings habit right first. So yes, investments, the first basic investment you can do is like for me, I put my savings, some portion of my emergency funds, into this thing called money market. So money market is like, it's literally like a bank account, which with a little bit better interest rate than our normal bank accounts. Our normal day-to-day bank accounts that we have in Maybank or whatever has like less than 0% interest. So you don't actually earn anything by putting your money there. So if you have savings, you can either put it in fixed deposit or money market. It helps you earn like 1.5 or 2% if it's a good fund, to kind of like earn some interest on these things, which is really fun to see. So when I, like 3-4 years ago, I put about 5,000 in fixed deposit. Like right now, I have like about 400 ringgit accumulated in interest alone. So it kind of makes me happy to see. It's like, because I did nothing with that funds. I just ignored it for years. And when I look back, I see some growth in that funds. It makes me happy. So it's good to put it in an FD or a money market. After that, you can look into different investments. I know there's things like robo advisors, there is share market, whatever you choose to invest in. I don't want to go too deep into it because each one is a separate topic on its own. But you should invest, because if not, nothing much going to happen. You have to work for the rest of your life, which I don't think you want to do. You should invest, but where to invest, you can research about it, study the tool and the company if you're going into share market, and then put your money in. So I personally right now, only like this past 6 months maybe, no, past 9 months maybe, I've started to get more into share market, like studying companies and all of that. I don't have so much money to just put in somewhere, but I am training myself to study different companies and assess them and see whether I want to invest in them. So even if you don't have money right now to invest into a company or a share market or anything like that, you can do the other part of it, which is learning, finding out about these things. So which comes to my last point in a way, in terms of habits, which is learn and understand. You need to understand, not just like read the news and think like, oh, Bitcoin went up this much, or this share has gone up so much, and people just jump into it. It's ridiculous. You need to understand what that thing it really is for you to actually grow, and you're not always going to have somebody to do a workshop for you on personal finance. So we need to take initiative to really understand different aspects of personal finance. So some of the things I tell people that they should be learning about is things like insurance. What does it do? What you must have? That is a good thing to know about. Investments, yes, different types of investments, what purpose they serve, and how does it work? That's one. Loans. So I'm somebody who got into a car loan the moment I stepped out of college, literally 1 week after I got into a car loan. And I had no idea what I was signing up for. I had no idea what was my installment amount. I just said yes to whatever my dad said and signed up for a loan, which is one of the biggest regrets I have in life because then I suffered years paying back for the loan. Uh, so always understand how loans work, what are the different elements in it, and then commit to it if you feel it's a good decision. Credit cards as well, how does it work, what are the charges, what are the fees, what are the benefits, and then make your decision. And most importantly, I feel, is taxation. So if you earn, you're going to be taxable one day, and I feel it is our responsibility as citizens to pay our tax. There's no point in I mean, we have gotten so many, I mean, it's not the greatest facilities, but still we have gotten a lot of help in terms of our country. And I think we don't need to judge whether people use good use of the money or not. It's more about our role as citizens. We must pay our tax properly. Oh, when should we start to do income tax? So it really depends. Like mine got started when I entered into internship. So my internship, when I got my internship, they already started a tax account for me. So if you already have a tax file, you must make sure you file every year. You cannot skip a year because you're not taxable. But if you're not yet, don't really have a tax file yet, you will only need to start filing somewhere around the figure of 30,000 as your annual income. So annual income means whatever you earn in a month times 12. And then if it comes to somewhere close to 30,000, it's good to open a tax file. Yes, if you have a tax file, you must file the tax, because not filing is a fault on its own, and then you will get fined on that. So just file, even if it's zero, you're not going to pay any tax. Like this year, when I filed, it was zero. When I filed, I just filed. It's zero, so nobody cares, so I just file it and that's it, done. It's not really that complicated, which you can learn. If you need help, you can always talk to me. I can help you guys with that when that problem arises in your life. Okay, any questions so far? Which I think the in terms of learning and understanding, it's not something that can be done in a day. So what I personally do is I actually have this live stream show. I think I still can't figure out how to name this thing. So basically, I do this thing called Money Matters, which is like a show I do on Facebook, and now I'm going on YouTube as well under my company called Simply Empowering. So each week on Sundays, I actually go live for about half an hour to 45 minutes, and I cover different topics. So last week we actually covered investments, we have covered savings before, we have covered time and money freedom, all different topics about money. And I interview ordinary people, not the financial gurus or experts who know all the jargon. I interview normal people who have done this in their own lives. So this Sunday, oh my god, this Sunday, okay, this Sunday on Mother's Day, I'll be interviewing, I like saying this line, I'll be interviewing my father on Money Matters, just because he's actually a very successful businessman, and he put in a lot of effort and really managed to sustain his business through tough times. So we'll be talking about how to make sure you know survive and have that you can go through the ups and downs. So if you guys would like to keep learning more about money, you can join my Money Matters live stream. I do like a RSVP form, which I think they put inside the chat box already. So you can RSVP, and moving forward, the future ones, I'll update you guys as well. And you can feel free to join me whenever you are free. And it will be also uploaded on the YouTube channel, so you can always go and watch it if you missed the session as well. So this is something I am doing to kind of contribute towards helping people learn. And it's more for the youngsters crowd. So if you guys are free, you can join me. And I think the last thing I would like to end with, I've gone way beyond my time, but never mind. Last thing I would like to end is personally for me, before I actually started earning much, when I finished my not degree, full-time studies, and I went into the working force, I actually had a lower salary than literally all of my peers. I chose a job in Ascendance and Simply Empowering compared to going for those higher paying jobs in a big four firm and all of that. Because personally for me, I was very, very passionate about these two things. And I decided I would rather focus my time and energy on this than go into a job that I don't really like. But over the years, I have grown a lot in ways I could have not imagined at all. So like winning like the Diana Award and all was not even an agenda in my life. It just happened because I was working on Ascendance. So what I feel has really helped me to grow in my career, in my in learnings in terms of money, all of this is giving back to people. So even as a student, we can always give back. I think that's what you guys are doing in Taylor's Girl Up, which is amazing. So giving back to people in any way we can. Right now, it may be just time and experience, but eventually it will be money as well. So always look at how much you can give back to people. So even now, my monthly budget, I actually have a portion that goes to just giving back to people, because I want that to always be a thing. I don't want to go to a point, that there are people millionaires, and then you'll be like, can you contribute to our cause? And then they're like, oh, sorry, no money. And I'm like, you're a freaking millionaire. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to become that person. So I build it into a habit now itself to always contribute some portion of my money to building other people. So that is what, and this belief kind of like really grew because of my work in Ascendance. So I think like Yumitra mentioned earlier, we have another speaker who'll be doing a very short sharing on her life, which is basically my co-founder in Ascendance. Her name is Harsha. So when we started, I was 19 years old and Harsha was just 13 years old. uh, and we started working on this initiative. Now she is one of the main people running Ascendance. She's 19 now, which is similar age to many of you. She's very, very impressive, has done a lot and has learned a lot over the past 6 years as well. So I think she will be just coming on by to just share how she became a teenage entrepreneur, like how did she start a business and actually literally earn so much more income than most people do in their 20s by becoming a teenage entrepreneur. So Harsha, if you're there, you can just come in.
So, hi everyone, Harsha here. Can we give a round of virtual applause to Madhura? Because Madhura is just so hilarious. I don't know about all of you, but like I am scared of finance. The word finance sends me running. But whenever I listen to Madhura, I think she's just so much fun to talk to and to listen to that I actually care about finance. I actually don't mind listening and I actually learn things just because it's Madhura. And for all of you, like she mentioned, she has her Money Matters, her finance coaching. Highly recommended. I think it's the only show that I like. Money Matters is the only show which, even if I can't go for, I'll actually watch the recordings because that's just how fun it is. And I use it when I go for runs, when I do whatever I do, because Madhura is just a fun person to listen and learn about finance. So yeah, because it's much better than my normal finance class from college or stuff like that. I'm sure many of you can agree. But anyway, hi once again. Thank you, Madhura, for the sharing. And then thank you to everyone, Yumi and the team at Taylor's, for actually organizing this talk. I think it's a very, very brilliant concept. And I especially like the quote you guys started off with at the beginning about how financial literacy is a combination of awareness, knowledge, skills, attitude, behavior, and probably a bunch of other things that actually enable us to make sound financial decisions. And I feel like it's that combination of many things that bring together and allow us to live the lives that we want, to have the finances we want, to live our dreams in a way. So today, I hope that my short sharing will help you guys see a little bit more about how you guys can start that off if you were like me and started off my journey as an entrepreneur when I was very much a kid living under my parents' roof, to today slowly starting to be sustainable myself. And hopefully that journey helps all of you guys do the same. So yeah, my name's Harsha. I'm 18. I am, Madhura said I was 13 when I started, so now I already am 18. And one of the things is, as Yumi gave in the earlier introduction, I am currently one of the co-founders and chief marketing officer of Ascendance, a nationwide youth movement that works with over 4,000 students in 270 different communities to help them to discover what they love doing, be successful in their happiness, health, education, and passion, and also start their own careers while they're still in school. So we work up with 4,000 students, 270 communities, and I've also had the fortune with Ascendance to help many other youngsters start their own businesses, incubate their own startups. And one of the startups that was incubated by Ascendance was actually my own, called startmyname.com. And Start My Name is actually a startup that does fast, simple, personal websites for individuals. So if you're like me and want your own website called actuallyharsha.com, we do that for individuals as affordable as possible. And today we've managed to grow in the last 2 years to having over 400 clients in 4 different continents. At the same time, I'm also a college student, so I go to the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League university in the United States. And I also am a normal teenager who does my normal teenager things like watch Netflix and go for classes and all of that. So this is my current reality. And one of the things that I have been fortunate to in this journey is to today start being a bit more self-sustaining, to start earning my own money, to start actually going out there and paying my own rent, paying my own groceries. But all of this started way before. So it's not like I suddenly finished school and said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to do things. No. It was a long journey for me, which I'm sure many of you will do much faster. So let me just share a little bit about where my story starts, all the way back when I was 11. So when I was 11, this was my introduction to entrepreneurship, to really beginning to imagine that I can live the reality that I want. And my journey doesn't start with me wanting to earn any money or becoming an entrepreneur or anything like that. It actually started with my mom, who she was a single mother, stepped out of her corporate job and wanted to start her own business. She wanted to earn money doing what she loved doing. And she went from one event to another until finally she saw these talk shows held by ET Ideas. They were a social business incubator that used to have weekly talks. And she would go along, and because she didn't have anyone to babysit me at home, she'd bring me too. And when I was there, for the first time, I think I saw something completely different than what I was used to in the 4 walls of my classroom. Here I saw entrepreneurs, some of them who had $1 million businesses, some of them who had financial freedom, and many of them, or all of them, doing what they were passionate about. They were pursuing their own passion, whether it was in accounts or finance or even to things like baking, fashion, music, and they were all successful in it. And the best part is that with their success, with or the things that their happiness in a sense, they also found ways and means to give back to the community around them. So they would also contribute to many orphanages or empower people through the work that they were doing. Or many of them even helped other people start their own businesses. And as a kid, I thought that this is the dream. Not only do I have enough money to do whatever I want, but I also I'm doing what I love doing. And at the same time, the best part of it was that I help other people at the same time. And I was very curious how this lifestyle worked. How did this actually happen? So I went up to the founder of the social business incubator and I asked him, how did you create all of this? How did you create a platform where people could actually live like this? And he told me many things which my 11-year-old brain couldn't compute at that point of time. But one of the things that he said, which I picked up on, was it's all about having a goal, having something that you want and focusing on that goal. Set a goal, work towards achieving it, and make sure your thoughts, words, and actions are constantly aligned towards achieving that goal. If you do that, you continuously look for solutions until the point you achieve it. And he said, don't just set a goal in your finance, set a goal in your happiness, your health. For me, I was a student, your education, but also your wealth, so that you grow holistically. So again, it was really sound advice, but I was 11, so it's not like I had any big dreams at that point of time. But one of the things is I started looking around at me at what did I want to do? What was the things I wanted to achieve? And I saw that at 11 years old, the thing that I wanted was to actually go to an international school because I wanted to learn about people from different cultures, different parts of the world. And I went to my mom and I said, okay, remember we've been going for these talks. They say about setting a goal, right? So I've decided this is my goal. I'm going to this international school. And my mom looks at me and she's just like, we don't really have the money to send you to an international school. It's like, I just started my business. Like, well, how are you going to do this? So obviously my first goal was a failure. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm so sad. And I went back to my mentor and I said, didn't work out. So like I tried setting this goal, nothing happened. And he told me something which I think is the foundation of my success. He said, when I said focus on your goal, I said your thoughts, words, and actions must be aligned. In thoughts, you are focused on this goal. But in words, you are just talking about all of the obstacles in it. And in actions, you're here complaining, you're not actually looking for solutions. So yes, you have a goal, but you're not actually working towards it. If you are truly focused on this goal, you will do whatever it takes to find solutions. And Yusuf told me, so what's the matter now? You don't have the money, is it? Well, it's okay. All you have to do is figure out ways and means to actually get the funds to go and achieve this goal. So once again, for me, the first goal I had wasn't a
Technical error.
Is it me? No. Okay.
Okay.
Oh no. Asha. Asha. Where did you go? This is where she will tell her scholarship story. Where are you, Hasha? Apologies for the technical difficulties. I am currently contacting the speaker via WhatsApp.
Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, just put it in the chat. Or feel free to unmute and talk while we get Hasha back.
Or we awkwardly stare at each other.
Deal.
And yes, that was me in the picture. Sorry, Amy. Oh God, what happened to her? She left the call. Oh no, she's here. Okay. Okay, she's back.
Nice.
I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi crashed. Okay, I'm now back. I hope I didn't leave you all alone. But okay, yeah. But so basically, what my mentor but what I was doing is I just kept looking for solutions. So it was just simple things like I'd come home and every day I'd spend maybe 5 minutes just looking up my goal until I found a way to achieve it. So then I found out that hey, maybe I could get a scholarship to an international school. So I started writing emails. I started calling up principals. I started calling up admin staff who worked in international schools to find out how could I actually do that. And from there, I just worked backwards. Okay, if I need to get a scholarship, right now I'm not exactly scholarship winning material, said 11-year-old me. So I started looking at what can I do to change? Could I improve my grades? Could I go out there and try different things? So over time, in about a year, I started changing what I could. From an average scoring student, I just spent a bit more time focusing on it. I became a straight A scoring student. From a student who was going there around like being the shy, quiet class kid in class, I actually started like talking to people, finding out what opportunities there were in school. So I started representing my school in sports. I started representing them in storytelling, in different competitions at a state and eventually even a national level. I started looking at my own talents, the things that I was good at, playing musical instruments. I started playing the bass guitar. And because I just spent a bit more time focusing on what I could do about it, I ended up winning awards, getting the highest bass guitar grades in that grade in Malaysia. And all of these things slowly changed me into the kind of person who was able to get that scholarship. So by the time I was 12, I actually received a scholarship worth 150,000 ringgit that covered my entire secondary school education. So what that taught me is many times it's like there are things we want to do, but it doesn't mean that we have to do it the conventional way. All we have to do is have that goal and just keep looking for solutions on how to achieve it. The money will come if you put in the actions. So, yay, okay, goal number one achieved. But more than, and I know for many of you, it might not look like a big deal, but more than the goal itself, it taught me that this works, that I can actually set and achieve the goals that I want. And from there, something else that I learned during my secondary school life taught me how to apply this even more. I looked around at the platform I was at the other teenagers in ET Ideas at that point of time, and I saw people like Madhura. I saw people like our other two co-founders who were doing the same thing. They too were using these things that they were learning to be able to get straight A's, get the best grades, get the jobs that they wanted, and even also be able to find the money to pay for whatever they wanted. And from there, I guess one of the things that really resonated with me was the fact that, or that resonated with all four of us, was the fact that everyone that didn't believe that we couldn't do things before because we were kids or because we were teenagers. So they believed that being young was not a barrier. If you wanted to do something, no matter what, you can find solutions to achieve it. And because they had that belief, they put in a lot of their time, their resources, their effort to actually mentor us, coach us, guide us. And that's why we were able to achieve the things we did. So together, we actually formed Ascendance with the idea that we wanted these resources that had helped build us to reach out to every single student out there so that other students could have these opportunities as well. They could have this environment. So the next thing that we started doing as Ascendance is we just applied the same thing that we learned. Focusing your thoughts towards actions, setting a goal, looking at solutions. And it's those three things that we started off doing that when we actually applied it in Ascendance, we started working with students. You can imagine that when we began, we were just four kids who didn't really know anyone, we didn't really know where to go. But in our thoughts, we just focused on how can we bring what we learned to students. In our words, we just started calling up tuition centers that we knew, that we used to go for, children's homes that we had helped out before, doing and started working with the students there. And in our actions, we started actually just going out there and doing programs, talking to people, getting feedback and practicing what we were doing to refine the work that we did. So because we had this kind of like methodology, Ascendance started growing. In the first year itself, we worked with about 500 students in about 10 different schools. And as we started working with these students, we started seeing things from their perspective. We started seeing how we could guide them to learn these things. And many of them started growing themselves. So from shy, quiet kids, a lot of them became confident, outspoken. From failing all of their subjects, they started getting straight A's and B's. And it was these results that many of them went on to represent their schools, represent their states, their countries. That as kids started growing and things like that, more people started to know about Ascendance. The word of mouth of what we were doing started to spread. And from there, I think one of the things that happened to us is we started getting calls to do these programs in different places. We started being approached by different organizations to actually go in and do our programs. So much so that someone even said, you guys should work with the Ministry of Education. And the next thing we knew, one meeting led to another, and we were in a meeting with the Deputy Minister of Education saying, why don't you guys roll out these programs in schools all around Selangor? And he said, let's pilot it in 9 schools, let's try it out. So you can imagine that just from starting something small, being focused on solutions, an idea that 4 kids had grew into an actual movement. And we were excited, of course. We were like, wow, we can work with students in schools and everything. So we went back to our mentor and we said, this is what's happening and things like that. And our mentor looked at us and said, good job, congratulations, it's amazing, you guys can work with schools and all. But now a new problem has arisen. You guys need to find the funding of how you guys are actually going to do this. And we were like, oh no, it's like we were so excited, we did everything and all that, but we didn't think about that. And he said, let me help you out a bit. And he actually spoke to the companies in ET Ideas, in the different companies that he knew, and he actually raised the second half of the amount of funding that we needed. And he said, you guys go out there and find the other half. And we were like, why? We already did this, and like now you already found half the funding, so you have to do the program and things like that. And we were in this mode like, oh my God, so many problems. And he told us this. He said, in life, there will always be problems, whether you're successful, whether you're somebody, or whether you're a nobody. But the key or to overcoming it is to develop a mindset of focusing on the solutions instead. That way, you can see the lessons that nature is trying to teach you, in each and every single problem. And when he said that, we thought, okay, you know what? Let us go and try. So another key thing that I learned from here is many times we want to do something, we want to make changes, but we feel like we don't have the funds to make these changes. We don't have the funds to go and end world hunger at this moment in time. But by taking small steps, by going out there and trying things out, to our surprise, we actually started meeting companies, we actually started getting the funds in. Of course, in the beginning, it wasn't easy, but we started the way we knew, in thoughts, focused on how can we actually bring in the funds. In words, we spoke to people who were good at getting funding, who were good at talking to companies. And in actions, again, we just Googled it, Googled a list of companies, started calling them up one by one, calling up the companies we knew, we wanted to work with and all of that. And set meetings, go out there, practice, talk to people, pitched, came back, refined our presentation over and over again until we started meeting different groups of people. Of course, in the beginning, we met companies who were saying things like, we are this big company, ABC. Why should we work with you guys? You guys are nobodies. But over time, we started meeting kind companies or individuals who ran businesses and would tell us things that were the complete opposite. And they would instead say things like, when I started this business, it was with the goal to actually impact others in mind. But over time, as the business grew, that goal has been forgotten. So at least today, let's help you guys so that you guys can go out there and help others too. And with kind companies like this, in a relatively short amount of time, we actually raised the second half of the amount of money we needed to run this program in 9 schools for, again, I think over 700 students in 2018. The results, again, we saw groups of students come out there, empowered, started running their own initiatives for their classes, their schools. Many of them started becoming their own young entrepreneurs. Many of them came out of mental health issues, stepped out of their depression, anxiety, and a lot of them began knowing that they can actually change their own reality and start working towards their goals. It was from these results that in 2019, actually, we were awarded the Diana Award by the Diana Foundation in the United Kingdoms for our work in empowering Malaysian youth. And as Madhura said, that's just unexpected, but it's just one of the things that happened because we kept looking for solutions. So sometimes we may not have a goal of how much money we want, but there's something we want to achieve. And by focusing on ways we achieve it, we attract the money, we attract the resources to actually make it happen. It's not like everything was smooth sailing from there. Remember, in life, there's always problems. So even in 2019, I faced the typical problem that all teenagers face. I finished my SPM IGCSE, and suddenly my life was meaningless because I had no idea what I wanted to do after school. And one of the things that for me, what happened was I actually spoke to my mentor and I asked him, what do I do now? I got this 8A stars, I got all of these exams and things like that, but what do I do next? And he said, well, what do you want to do? What does your heart want to do? And I thought to myself and I said, what I really want to do is to make sure that this platform we created for Students in Malaysia reaches out to every single student out there all across the world. And he said, well, if that's what you want to do, then you need to learn from the top universities, the top businesses, the top people in different parts of the globe to see how you can adapt what we do for different parts of the world. I was like, top universities, top this, top that. How does any of this work? But by now I started getting the gist of it, that it's not about figuring out the details and calculating how much money do I need, how do I do this, how do I get my foundation, anything. It's about setting the goal and working backwards. So I just started where I could. I started writing emails to some of these universities, sharing with them about what Ascendance does, about what our plans were. And to my surprise, the University of Pennsylvania, which is the best business university in the whole world, where people like Elon Musk or Warren Buffett, and ironically, even John Legend went to university at, and they actually responded and said something like, hey, we have a program that's perfect for you. We love what you guys do with Ascendance. We'd love to see it go global. Here's a program which is for our working adults, which means you can actually do half of it on campus, half of it anywhere around the world, and you can do it while you run your business. So today I actually go to the University of Pennsylvania. I have classmates who are between the age of 15 to 50. Some of them are business owners, executives in some of the top companies. And I get to meet with them, learn from their experiences, while learning from the experiences of some of the top lecturers in the world. So I got this huge thing, once again, by working backwards from what I want to do and not just following that conventional path. While I was there, I had another problem. Again, with the problems, right? You guys are probably wondering, Harsha, do you ever not have problems? No. And one of the things that for me, like, I started realizing is, wow, an Ivy League education is so nice, but it's also so expensive. Like, it's nice, but like the cost of the textbooks itself would kill me every semester. So I started looking at what could I do about it. Could I maybe get a scholarship? And I started going to my mentor saying, I can get this scholarship, I could do this, I could do that. And he looked at me and he said, okay, with your kind of grades, any university would give you a scholarship, but you shouldn't apply. And I was like, huh? Why? And then he was like, scholarships are for those people who are academically brilliant, but don't have the funds and the means to actually pay for their education themselves. Much like how you were when you first started out at 12, 13. But over the years, you have gained the resources and skills to actually go out there and earn the money you need to pay for your education. So if you go and take all of the scholarships, then what's going to happen to all of those who actually need it? So I was like, oh, okay, very motivated, right? Let's go start a business, right? No, I just panicked. And I started going like, how am I going to pay for this? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And it just said, go back to finding solutions. What are the things you're already doing? You don't have to go and learn how to paint, or you don't have to go and start weighing tables. Just look at the skills you already had. And one of the things that I used to do for fun, as I mentioned earlier, was I used to do simple websites for my friends, the business owners I knew. So like my name's Harsha, so I got a website like actuallyharsha.com, and it's just something simple that was fun because I could have my own name on it. We made like madhurake.com for Madhura, and I used to help my friends like set up blogs or simple like template-based sites so they could have something fast, simple, and it was only for like 188 ringgit a year. So anyone could have a website, 15 bucks a month. But when I started, I didn't really look at that as a business. But now when I started looking at what skills I had, I said, hey, maybe I could use that. And in 2019, we formalized that into a business called startmyname.com. And the story behind growing Start My Name is very similar to everything that I've mentioned before. Number one, we have a goal of something that we want to achieve, of a certain amount of sales we want, of a certain amount of growth we want. Number two, we work backwards from that goal. So I start looking as the person who was in the beginning the only person, but today who has a team that I have to manage. I start looking behind from that goal and start looking at, all right, if I want to achieve this goal, what do I need to do now about it? So in the beginning, it's not like we had hundreds of clients pouring in. No, it was just me seeing in my mind that goal of running this successful business. And in my thoughts, focusing on that. In my words, going out there and talking to my friends and family, telling them that, hey, this is the service I have. Can you guys subscribe? Can you guys support me in this? And in my actions, going out there and actually finding the clients when there was no clients in the beginning. So I'd go and in a day, maybe message 100, 200 people randomly saying, hey, do you want to get a website? I'd message home caterers or trainers or college students sharing about the things that I did, hoping to get a reply. And from there, I started getting 1 or 2 clients, which led to 3 or 4. And word of mouth of what we did started spreading. And slowly the business grew. And that's how we grew to 400 clients in the last 2 years. Today, I no longer message hundreds of people a day. People contact me instead. But it was that momentum that I had to start that kicked it off. So today, Start My Name, we have clients in 4 different continents. And I'm very fortunate that the proceeds from this, even though in the beginning, my parents, my mom and my family had to help me out and start me off in college. Today, the proceeds I have do help slowly contribute towards paying for my college tuition and paying for my other expenses. I pay for my rent, I pay for my groceries, I pay for my Spotify premium. So slowly I'm becoming self-sustaining. And one of the things that helped me is the fact that I started young. So one time I was giving a talk like this and someone said, hey, does this mean like how does one become an adult? Like how do I start paying for all my things? And I realized at that point of time that I never became an adult. I'm still not an adult. Like if I have to live by myself, I think I'd cry. But like one of the things that I started doing is just looking at, it's not like one day I'm going to wake up and be kicked out of my house and have to fend for myself and pay for all my food. No, I can start now in simple ways. So as my income started to grow slowly, I said, you know what, maybe I'll just start buying my own meals in a sense. Then after a while, I was like, you know what, maybe I don't have to pay my full rent. Maybe I can pay a little bit in the beginning. And as the income continued to grow, that portion of what I was contributing started to grow too. So then after that, now I pay a bit more than rent so that people can afford to buy the groceries to keep our house running. I go out there and when times are low, I again, like Madhura, negotiate with my family as if I'm a proper person and this is not my parents and things like that. I start looking for ways and means that if I don't have enough money this month, how can I actually do that and increase my salary in different ways? So it's not about becoming an adult. It's slowly transitioning into becoming self-sustaining at the capacity you have right now. So you don't have to wait until you have a 3K, 4K salary. Even if you earn just 500 ringgit, maybe just spend 100 ringgit for your adulting expenses and and start slowly transitioning into that person. That's what worked for me. And part of running a business is always about, like for me, when I used to think about running a business, I used to think of people like in quotes like me and Madhura, who actually never wear coats in real life, who go out there and meet every day in this office and do work and things like that. But no, a lot of the businesses that I run today and that Ascendance develops and that we've met are actually just people who are doing what they love doing. So like many of them are not that like old either. So like some of the students Ascendants have developed is like Vinisha, who's 17 years old, and she already has her own her own startup that does personalized graphic design. So she has a lot of clients that actually pay her for graphic design, logos, flyers. She also was one of the. She also has people who come to her for book orders. So she's actually helped publish 3 books. She illustrated 3 different books, and she's only what 18 years old now. I think 19 at the most, and she already starts earning her own money to be able to slowly be self-sustaining. People like Abi. Abi is actually 16 years old, but she already has her own business called Haha Merchandise that does merchandising for companies, and also that sells products like fun t-shirts for like Gen Zs with cool quotes, and proceeds from her startup actually go back to supporting other youngsters through Ascendance. So it's not just she becoming self-sustaining and earning some money, but giving back to others as well. People like Jared, who already is starting his own career in voice acting. Emmeline, who's studying in photography. So it's not about becoming straight away an entrepreneur. Like these students are literally just students who started working on what they love doing and slowly turned it into a career. And today, that's what Ascendance does, and that's what I do with the different things that I do. The reason why Ascendance has had so much success is because of these few things: focusing on the goal, actually going out there and taking the first step, and most importantly, I'd say, is asking for help and collaboration. We like it might seem a bit strange, 16-year-olds having companies, or even 18 having a company, and yes, there's so many things I don't know, but because I have people like Madhura, I have people like Simply Empowering that Madhura is part of. I have different companies in IT and different partners with Ascendance, that I can actually go to them and bring my ideas to them and work with them to actually make it a reality, make it better and better. Like in 2020, in the like 2021 actually, in the beginning of this year, I published my first book called The Makings of a Teenage Entrepreneur. I published it not because I was a very motivated person, it was because I was going through a spike in clients with Start My Name, and I realized that nobody tells you that your business will have to change when you have 200 clients instead of 20 clients. And I was suddenly very busy and very stressed managing all of these things, which is a good problem, but it was still a very stressful time. So in all of that chaos, I actually wrote a book about how we grew the business and how I was learning to manage the business as a teenager from my point of view, so that others could also have that opportunity to do what they love doing and take it to the heights that they want. And it was with that book, when I wrote the book, I thought, I don't know if this is any good. But I went back to Ascendance and I showed them this book, and they were like, this is a great book, but what more can we do with it? So that's when the different people that I mentioned earlier came together to actually take it to the next level. So I wrote the book, but Vinisha came and she illustrated it and she brought it to life with a lot of amazing illustrations. Another one of the people we worked with actually made it in color, got photographs, formatted the book beautifully. Jared, that we saw earlier, he actually helped us edit a audiobook version with a lot of sound effects and musics that is very immersive. Abi and her startup Haha Merchandise came up with a box set with like t-shirts and face masks, so that there's merch for the book as well. And Ascendance itself came up with a platform called the teenageentrepreneur.com, which consolidated all of the different efforts that Ascendance had done the year before on a singular place, so that Ascendance could actually go like have all of the events on one platform for anyone to be part of. So this teenageentrepreneur.com today has over 50 live events by people not just like me, but Madra's Money Matters. We have workshops, events. We even have people like Harith Iskandar, Nicole and David who come in and talk about their own fields so that aspiring entrepreneurs in those places can get experiences from the best of the best. We have people who are like the GM of Microsoft Search. We have people like the director of employee relations at Amazon who come in and share their experiences of how they were like when they were teenagers, when they were students, so that anyone can actually get connected to these global resources and start their own entrepreneurship journey. But I wouldn't have known that had I just kept it to myself. But because I had this group of people who actually came together, that's why we brought one idea to another. And that's why the idea was able to grow. And together we all grow and we all improve our businesses. We all actually work together towards making it the best that it can be. So those are my few tips, so my story in a sense, for any of you who are aspiring entrepreneurs. So that's how I started without an idea to where I am today with an amazing team that actually helps me grow everything to the next level. And I hope that it inspires all of you to do the same one way or another. Ascendance is always here for any of you who want to be part of this. We have so many events and activities. Like every Friday, we actually have a radio show, which now we have video too, called Changing Reality, where we interview, as I mentioned, some of those top people who are available, who are executives in top companies, global change makers, to actually hear their stories of how they started out. Tomorrow, we're actually interviewing Shomi Hassan Chowdhury, another Diana Award winner, also a global activist okay, there's so many achievements she has, I cannot mention, but to show you how successful she is, she promotes water sanitation. She's met people like Hugh Jackman. She's met people like, who else did she meet? Princess Anne, Meghan Markle. That's how famous she is and how good at her work that even these people give her recognition. So if you want to meet her, you can come tomorrow for Changing Reality. I will drop the RSVP link and hear her story of how she started out as a girl in Bangladesh who lost her mother to poor water sanitation and turned that around into a social startup, into a business that would empower others to have access to clean water and eventually to become teenage entrepreneurs as well. So we hear stories like that. Ascendance also provides a platform where we consolidate all of these activities, as I mentioned, the teenage entrepreneur. So for any of you who want to know how you can start earning your own income, turn your passion into a career, or just start in your own ways towards becoming self-sustaining, I would highly recommend getting the teenageentrepreneur.com. It's only 100 ringgit for a whole year, and it really opens up your mind. You get to see a lot more of Madhura and me there too. So yeah, that is my story in a sense, and passing it back to Yumitra and the team. Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much for that insightful sharing, Harsha. I think we really got to get into the details of how to, work on your passion and set goals and actually get started on your financial journey or just your journey of adulting and independence from a young age. It was very interesting. I think we can start the Q&A session. Feel free to just unmute yourselves and ask questions or just put it in the chat if you are a bit shy, and let's just have a conversation, guys. And do check out the links that have been posted in the chat so that you guys can sign up for the workshops and so on. Anybody has any questions?
If they are like me, they are probably like too dumbfounded to ask any questions.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I talked a lot. Please ask questions.
No, it is such a mood. Sometimes, when people say such honestly mind-blowing things that, yeah, you guys can take a minute. I'm recording for now.
So I think we have a question already. How do you all balance your studies while having your own business? Asha, that's for you.
I have a very, very good team. So like this week is actually my exam week. So Christ, and it's a paper which I really need to study for. Sometimes you have those papers which like everything you have to do a note for. So yeah, that's what I'm going through now. So like as a real life case study, when it comes to this, it's not like I completely abandon my business and I have to be like I have to study, but I actually have a good team so that I can manage my time and actually take the time off to focus on my studies while knowing that they are there to get my back and like cover for me in a sense. So like in the same time when they have exams, because all of us have students and they have things that they need to sit for, I step in and I make sure that things are going well. So having that teamwork in a sense really helps to like grow a business and make sure that it's constantly afloat. And also the second part of it is it's not like we didn't start this in a day. So when I first started out all the way at age 11, it was with only just spending maybe 5 or 10 minutes a day working on my goals. Eventually, when we started Ascendance, maybe I spent like half an hour a day. So slowly that time increased. And because I started seeing how to apply the things that I was learning about in my goals, in working on my business and things like that, my grades were increasing too. So I ended up spending a lot more time focused on my business, on the things that I was working on, while learning things from there that actually helped me manage my time, be more disciplined, be able to think and link about the things that I was learning in class. And from there, I started getting straight A stars, while at the same time, suddenly before I knew it, those 5 minutes I'd spent ended up being most of my day. So it was a gradual process to learning how to balance it.
All right.
I have a question. I think when we were talking about this topic earlier, Madhura and I spoke, and we were talking about side income ideas for students. Because sometimes, when you want to get started on something, but you don't actually know where to get started, or you don't just have that brainstorming power. So I guess since we're all here, I think that is one thing that we can talk about. What are the potential side jobs or side incomes that students can attempt their hand at?
Hmm.
Ideas?
Maybe I can share a little bit about, like, for me it was quite direct because I was studying accounting. So, and it was at that point in time where I met the platform ET Ideas and all of that. So because there was a company there that was doing accounting, my natural choice was to go there and do some part-time work, which a lot of people would think twice about if they are students, like, oh, can I commit the time? I just went and committed the time, that's it. And then because of that, I was able to earn some side income. And of course, if you have like a brilliant idea or you meet a team, for me it was not like Ascendance was my own concepted an idea I came up with on my own. It was, I was in this environment where people were all entrepreneurs and they were all doing different things. In that environment, it created an opportunity for me to come up with something, right? So because of that, we started Ascendant. So and then when we started, it's not like we made money, but after a while we started to see how we can monetize this. And you can, I think you'll only start to see that when you start seeing value in what you provide. So increase the value first, then after that you yourself will realize, you know what, this is worth being paid for, so let's start charging. And not be shy to, don't be an Asian when it comes to this, and not be shy to charge people. So today I was speaking to somebody who has a very interesting set of skills. So she likes, she learned henna from a henna artist, but then she didn't necessarily do henna. During MCO, I think she, in her house, all of them had similar water bottles. And we'll go shopping and we'll get the same A plus bottle, right? So she did the exact same thing, and she had exactly similar, identical water bottles with her housemates. So to make, to show difference, she actually took a henna cone and put acrylic paint in it, and then started drawing designs on it. And then it was so nice that people started asking, hey, do you do this? And then without her realizing, she kind of started a business in kind of like designing customized water bottle art. And now that is expanding into other things. So it's like, you could have one random skill, but you can start seeing how you can earn some. Like, I know some people who, when they were in college itself, they started tutoring, and now they literally run a tutoring business, and they earn a lot more than a person like me who does accounting and all of that. They earn a whole lot more. So any small skill you feel you like to share, I think that is where you can get started on. Hasha, anything to add?
No, I think Madhura pretty much covered it. But like one small thing that I felt like helped me as a student, which is, oh, by the way, hi to all the psych students. I'm a psych student too, anyway. But yeah, one of the things that like Madhura mentioned is like this girl. She had just this weird skill, and it's not that she started doing henna or anything. She just started decorating a bottle, and people were like, hey, I want one too. Can you do one for me? And then she started working on it. And like one of the things that I feel like happens to some of the students that Madhura and I work with is they have a skill, or they have something that they love doing, but they don't know how to monetize it, or they don't know how to make money from it. So in that case, I'd say don't try to overthink it. Just start with your family and friends. like sometimes the first idea you have to actually earn a side income might not pan out, it might not work out at all. But like if you actually just go and ask your friends like, hey, I'm good at drawing, or I'm good at this, or I'm good at that, I'm trying to start this like kitchen business, or like for us, like one of the students, we started like the merchandising company. They started off just printing t-shirts and selling t-shirts. So they started off by, again, their friends, their family, the people around them. And eventually when they started earning the money, then the next idea came, oh, maybe we could do corporate orders, or maybe we can do like customized merchandise. So like, don't try to overthink it, just try to see where can I start first and get a little bit of income, and that will kind of like get your brain rolling to what you can do next. So even if it's not much in the beginning, just try it out.
Yep, agreed. Shall I take the next question?
It says for both Madhura and Harsha. So another question for both
You
Madhura
said
and
you're
Harsha.
going. Go.
Sorry, in your opinion and experience working in the social entrepreneurship scene, how can we improve the finance as a feminist issue? Oh, Madhura should start. Madhura should take this question. Go
What
ahead, Madhura.
nonsense?
Yeah, it says finance like in the question, so you should take this.
Okay, one of the reasons I think we kind of run Ascendance is because any problem, right? It can be anything, the feminist issue, any feminist issue, or generally any issue in the world. If we are aiming to solve it, the best place to start is with youngsters, because that at that point in time you can still mold them. So that is why I think we personally kind of like got into working with youngsters, because like climate change, income gap between rich and poor, gender inequality, all of these things, right? We can address, if we can address it with kids, it's gonna be a much better chances of fixing it than trying to fix 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds or even 20-year-olds for the matter of fact. So that is why we kind of do Ascendant. So like for me, it's like uh, yes, we see it as a feminist issue, but maybe we need to look at the root cause and do whatever we can to address it. Like for how Hasha and I kind of started addressing the issues we saw is, we saw whether we can fix it in our own lives first. So like, oh, kids don't know about goal setting, they are blur as hell and they have no idea what they want to do in life. Okay, let's not be blur and fix ourselves first. So we started getting our own goals and started progressing to our goals. And then after we made that change, we were like, okay, now as kids we have already done this, we can go and share this with other youngsters. So we immediately did that. So it's like all of us have something to share. There's no such thing as only some people deserve to share their opinions or experiences. There's no such thing. Even a kid who is 6 year old, like yesterday, one of my friends actually did a live stream with a 7 year old kid. He was the main speaker in the talk, and it's like you are never too young or never too inexperienced to share your experiences. So if you have already started on something, just go out and share with it. So like today you guys would have learned something with regards to finance. When you have started applying it, go and share it with your friends, go and share it with people you meet, and you never know what kind of change you'll bring in a way. I think like, yeah, directly just fix ourselves and then immediately start sharing it with people so that they can start fixing it too. Hasha, anything to add? I rambled.
No, I think Madhura wrapped it up very nicely, and I feel like each and every single one of us can actually start making that change. Like, I think for me, one of my most favorite feminist icons is Madhura, because Madhura just shows that whatever it is, whether it's a feminist issue or not, if I want something, I'm going to get it done and I'm going to do it my way. And I feel like that is very inspiring for many of us. And just because Madhura takes the stand to be part of Ascendance, Madhura takes the stand to actually like teach people who are like me and stupid in finance, like how they can actually like improve their finances in the capacity that she can, in like with the friends that she has around her, that I think like that ripple effect is created. So like for all of you, even if it's in finance or in anything else that you guys do share it with people, as Madhura said. And again, Ascendance is always here if you guys want to bring those experiences that you have to a wider audience, so that your experiences can enrich others as well.
Yesterday, yesterday I was actually I had a friend who posted a podcast she did with somebody. I think she is I don't know what psychologist. I know there's like, you're supposed to, not yet a clinical psychologist, but she's doing something already. and she did this interview about like inner child, and she had this podcast and she released it, and I listened to it, and I personally learned so much, which I found very interesting. So even if you're in psychology, I'm sure there's a lot of things you guys can share with people that will help them to grow as well. So yeah, don't just share and spread the good.
It's true. We do like talking. Maybe we should take this seriously.
Yeah, take more. Start talking more. Stop getting other people to talk only.
But yeah, I think that's a very nice wrap up, because yeah, we do have to start with ourselves, and then moving forward we help the people around us and we kind of grow together. I think that has proven useful, important, and very true for both Ascendance, and Girl Up. I think we've all started off that way and just grown, and we've seen the ripple effect and how it's kind of helping us go forward in any issue that we're passionate about and fighting for. So if you guys have any other questions, this is the time to turn on your mic and talk, or drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we will be wrapping up the session. So we can take a photo before we wrap up, but if you guys have any questions, I will do a 1 minute countdown. Meanwhile, you guys can, just get ready to turn your camera on and we can take a photo.
This will go on national television. Sorry. I like to tell people that we'll go on national television because you never know when it might. You never know.
True. Yeah, Ascendance has this tendency to just end up at places. So you guys just... Okay, guys, honestly, this is it. Come on, more cameras. Come on.
Come on, folks.
I understand. So no pressure.
Come on, folks.
So
you can put that weird.
Yes. Hold on. Let me put on a hijab.
Okay. Can. We tunggu.
Okay, thanks.
I'm gonna put the loading thing because I find this very cute. I'm loading, guys.
Okay.
Hessa, come on.
Okay, I look super weird, but
How do you do that? How do you do that? Wait,
filter, video filter. Oh, that's nice, Asha.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, there you are.
Nice. I see that cute little flower thing. Cool. Okay, photo time.
Why our gang don't open camera? Huh? All of them quiet. And... Folks, to Bianca, Jared. Yeah, thanks, man.
Nice. Okay. Oh no.
Yeah, says oh no. Come on, guys. Come on. Good.
Okay.
Carol, Abhi.
See, whenever I read the words oh no, my brain just starts singing.
Oh no. I know. The stupid song played in my head too. I was just like, shut up. We are taking photo.
Yay.
Hi, Hira. Hira is also one of my co-founders. She's a singer-songwriter who's super amazing. You can check out her songs on Spotify, Hira Official. Okay, done with the promo. Let's take a photo.
Okay. All right, screenshot time. Give me a second. 3, 2, 1, smile. One more. 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, done. Thank you so much, guys. It was a very small group today, but I'm very happy to have you guys here. And I think we all personally had fun and learned a bunch of stuff. So thank you so much to Madhura and Harsha for doing this for us and, for being so fun and nice and for sharing such insightful information and for inspiring us. So thank you, guys.
Bye, guys. Yes, thank you, Girl Up, for the opportunity.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop recording.